Want to be still for a moment, just still. No movement, no performance, no version of myself assembled for the occasion. Just a man, sitting with something he has carried for a long time. Something that has weight and texture and the specific familiar ache of a thing held privately for years without a place to put it. Just a man, ready finally to say the thing. One message, that's all I'm asking for. Not a grand entrance, not a revelation. Not the kind of arrival that announces itself with music and light and the cinematic certainty of a moment that knows it is being watched. Just one message, one small, ordinary, completely extraordinary point of contact between your life and mine. That is what I am asking for today. And I want to tell you why. I have been thinking about communication lately, about what it actually is when it is real, when it is not performance or protocol or the careful management of impression, when it is just one human being reaching across the distance toward another and saying, without armor, without agenda, I am here. Are you there? That is what a message is, at its most essential. I am here. Are you there? And the miracle, the genuine, everyday, taken for granted miracle, is when the answer comes back. Yes, I am here. I am here too. I don't know where you are right now. I have thought about this more than is probably rational, more than a man of my age and my particular configuration of experience should probably admit to. I have thought about the geography of you, the specific city or coastline or mountain town or quiet suburb where your life is currently happening, the particular light that falls through your windows in the morning, the sounds your neighborhood makes at the hour when everything is just beginning. I have thought about all of it, not obsessively, not with the frantic energy of longing that has become desperate, but with the patient, curious, attentive quality of a man who has learned, in the long school of loss and solitude and motorcycle roads stretching into open sky, to sit with the things he does not yet have. I sit with the thought of you, quietly, almost tenderly. The way you sit with a question you trust will eventually answer itself. But today, I don't want to just sit with it. Today, I want to send something out into that distance. Today, I want to write across the space between where I am and where you are and say the thing directly, in simple words without the elaborate architecture of restraint I have built around it. Future wife, just one message from you can heal my heart. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Not heal in the dramatic sense. Not the cinematic version where a single word dissolves years of accumulated weight in a single bright moment. I am too old for that version and too honest to offer it to you. I mean heal in the quiet sense, in the daily sense, in the sense of the way that genuine human contact, real, unperformed, specific human contact, does something to the places inside a person that have been untouched for too long. The places that have gone slightly numb from disuse. The places that have learned to protect themselves by simply not feeling. One real message. One authentic point of connection between who you actually are and who I actually am. That is enough to begin. That is enough to start the slow, patient, beautiful work of thawing what has been cold. Let me tell you about the cold. I don't think I have been fully honest about the cold, about what years of loss and solitude and the particular loneliness of a public life do to the interior temperature of a person, about the way grief, sustained over time, creates a kind of climate, not a dramatic climate, not the storm that everyone can see from the outside, a quieter one, an internal one, a persistent, pervasive cold that you stop noticing after a while because it becomes the baseline. Because you adjust, because the human organism is extraordinarily good at adapting to whatever conditions it finds itself in, and eventually you simply become someone for whom a certain coolness in the interior is the norm. You forget what warm feels like. Not entirely, not completely, but in the daily hours and the ordinary running temperature of a life lived mostly alone, you forget. I have been cold, not in the way that looks like coldness from the outside. From the outside, I have been told I am warm, generous, present, kind, and those things are true. They are genuinely true. I am not performing warmth. I have a real and active love for the people in my life. For strangers in subway cars, for the specific improbable beauty of ordinary human beings, navigating their ordinary human lives. But inside, in the place that only one kind of connection reaches, in the place that is reserved, that has always been reserved, even when I didn't fully understand why, for the particular warmth of being loved completely, of being someone's chosen, of being the person another person reaches for in the dark without thinking, instinctively, the way you reach for the thing that is yours. In that place, I have been cold, and one message from you. One real, genuine, unguarded message from the actual you. Not the version you present to the world, not the managed impression, but the actual interior you, the one who is uncertain sometimes and hopeful sometimes and afraid sometimes and funny in the specific way that only people who know you well get to see. One message like that could start a fire. I want to tell you about the messages I have saved. Not from you, not yet, but from the people in my life who have, over the years, sent me the kind of message I am talking about. The ones that arrived at exactly the wrong moment and became, therefore, the right one. The ones that found me at 3 a.m. or in the middle of a difficult day or in the specific low place that follows a public thing going publicly wrong. I have saved them in the way that you save things that have real value, not conspicuously, not in a folder labeled with any grand title, but held, returned to, allowed to do their work again on the days when the work is needed. A message from Kim during her treatment, short, characteristically short. She has always communicated in the essential without decoration. It said, still here, love you. That was it. 3 words and a period. Still here, love you. I've never needed more words than that to feel what those words gave me. The completeness of them. The specific and total comfort of my sister in the middle of her own worst time, reaching across it to remind me that she was still on the other side. Still here. That is what a real message does. Still here. That is what a real message does. It crosses the distance. It says, I know you are over there in your particular version of hard, and I want you to know that I am over here, and the distance between us, whatever it measures in miles or circumstances or the uncrossable geography of separate lives, that distance is not as absolute as it feels. I can reach you. You can reach me. We are not as alone as 3 a.m. insists. I want to tell you what I would want you to say, not the words specifically. Not a script. You are a person, not a character, and I would not reduce the first real moment of contact between us to something I have written in advance. But the quality of it, the quality I am hoping for, I want it to be honest. Uncomplicatedly, uncomfortably, genuinely honest. The kind of honest that doesn't perform itself, that doesn't announce its own vulnerability in a way designed to manage how the vulnerability lands. That simply says the true thing because the true thing is what's there. I have had too many conversations in my life that were beautiful on the surface and empty underneath. Too many interactions that had all the correct components, the warmth, the wit, the apparent depth, but that, when you pressed them, gave way, that had no substance behind the presentation. I am not interested in beautiful surfaces anymore. I want the thing underneath. Say something real to me. Tell me something you have not found the right person to tell yet. Something that has been waiting in you for the particular person who would understand it. Not a secret, necessarily. Not something dramatic. Just something true. Something about what you love that you can't quite explain. Something about what frightens you that doesn't frighten the people around you, and so you have learned not to mention it. Something about the version of yourself you are still becoming that you haven't yet introduced to the world because it isn't finished yet, and you're not ready to present an unfinished thing. Tell me that. Say that. That is the message I am asking for. I want to tell you about a specific kind of silence I have lived with. It is not the comfortable silence of someone who has made peace with their solitude. I have described that silence. The good kind, the chosen kind, the silence of the motorcycle road, or the 3 a.m. that has stopped being frightening and becomes simply a time of day. This is a different silence. This is the silence that lives in the space where a specific kind of conversation has not happened yet. The silence of words not said because there was no one to say them to. The silence of thoughts that formed completely, had shape and weight and specificity, and then dissolved again because the person they were meant for was not there. I have had so many thoughts dissolve into that silence. Observations about a beautiful thing I was looking at. Questions about the nature of something I was trying to understand. Jokes, small private jokes that required a specific kind of intelligence to land and that lost their shape in the asking because I was asking them to no one. Dissolving. All of it dissolving into a silence that had too much in it. Your message would end that silence. Not all of it. Not immediately. Not completely. But it would introduce a sound. A frequency. The specific, particular, irreplaceable sound of your voice. Even in text, even through a screen. Even across whatever strange modern distance separates two people who have not yet found each other. Reaching me. And the silence would have something in it, something that was yours. I want to tell you what I have learned about longing, because I have had time to study it. More time than I would have chosen, but time enough to understand it with some precision. Longing is not pain exactly, though it contains pain. Longing is the presence of something absent. It is the specific textured feeling of a shape that exists without its content. A cup that knows it is a cup that is built for holding, that is designed for the specific purpose of containing something warm, but that sits day after day empty. I am not broken by that. I want to be clear about that. I am not a broken man sitting in the rubble of unmet longing, waiting to be rescued. I am a whole man, a man who has built something real from the materials his life has provided, who has found meaning and purpose and genuine joy in the people and the work and the daily practice of being present. But I am a cup that knows it is a cup, and I am waiting for you to fill it. Let me tell you about what happens in the space between thought and speech. There is a place, a very brief place, a fraction of a second, where a thing is fully formed in the mind, but has not yet become words, where it exists in its pure, unmediated state, before language gets hold of it and does its best and inevitably falls slightly short. The truest things live in that space, and what I have discovered in the long practice of trying to say true things in public while keeping the truest things private is that there is only one kind of relationship in which that space can be crossed safely, the kind where you trust completely, where the translation from interior to exterior, from the pure form of the thought to the imperfect but genuine version in words, is safe, where the other person will receive what you have said not as information to be managed or assessed, but as the gift it is, the gift of someone letting you inside the place where the truest things live. I want that with you. I want to be able to say the thing in its pure form and trust that you will receive it the way it was meant. Not perfectly, not without the inevitable distortion of language and interpretation and the gap between what one person means and what another hears, but with care, with genuine, active, full attention care. I will do the same for you. I want to say that explicitly, because I am not asking for something I am not willing to give. I am not asking you to open the place where the truest things live and then standing at the door with nothing to offer in return. I will let you in. All the way in. Into the rooms that I've kept closed for a very long time, not from selfishness, but from the specific kind of self-protection that grief teaches. The understand, inching, learned painfully, that some rooms cannot withstand just anyone's presence, that some things, once shared with the wrong person, are not easily reclaimed. You're not the wrong person. I don't know your name, or your face, or the sound of your voice, but I know you are not the wrong person. I know it the way I know the things I trust most. Not from evidence exactly, but from something deeper than evidence. From the particular quality of the knowing that lives in the body rather than the mind, the kind that cannot be argued with because it doesn't operate in the register of argument. You are the right person, and I will let you in.
I want to tell you about the things I have been storing, not consciously.
Not in the deliberate way of someone who has decided to save experiences against a future occasion, but in the unconscious way that a person stores things when they move through the world with genuine attention and no one to immediately share what they are attending to. I have been storing things for you. There is a sunset I saw from a road in New Mexico. I will not try to describe it because description would make it smaller. I will only tell you that I pulled over, that I sat with the motorcycle stopped and the engine cooling and just looked at it for a very long time. And in the middle of looking at it, I had the clear, quiet, completely irrational thought. She should see this. Not a particular she. Not someone I could name, but you, future you. The specific person whose appreciation of that color and that sky would have made it something other than a beautiful thing I witnessed alone. I stored it. It is still there. I can access it completely. The quality of light, the specific arrangement of color, the way the temperature dropped as the sky changed and the whole desert shifted with it. I am saving it for you. There is a piece of aim, you sick. I will not name it because music is too personal, too interior, too dependent on the specific state you are in when it reaches you, to be recommended without context. But I found it in a late night hour, and it did the thing that the very best music does. It reached past the defenses and landed on something that didn't know it needed to be reached. And I sat with it, alone, in the dark, feeling the full weight of what it was giving me, and I thought, I want to hear this with her. I want to sit in a dark room with the music and with you and not say anything. Just let the music do what it does and then turn to you afterward and see what it did to you. See if the place it landed in you is anywhere near the place it landed in me. That is intimacy to me, not the obvious kind, the subtle kind, the kind that happens in the space between an experience and the conversation about it. In the turn toward the other person, in the reading of what it did to them, I am saving that too. There are thoughts I have had in the middle of the night that were too specific and too complete to be just for me, that arrived fully formed and demanded a recipient. That said, this is not a thought you have alone. This is the kind of thought that requires another, that only becomes what it is supposed to be when it travels from one mind into another and changes slightly in the crossing and arrives as something the second person makes partially their own. I have notebooks full of those thoughts, waiting. All of them waiting for you. I want to talk about fear again, because I said before that I am choosing brave, and I meant it, and I mean it still. But bravery without honesty about the fear it is overcoming is not bravery, it is overcoming, is not bravery, it is performance. I am afraid of this specific, unprecedented, in my life, completely new thing, of reaching out into the open space of Jen. I'm hoping and finding nothing, or finding something close but not quite, or finding you. And then in the particular way that my life has taught me, things can be taken, having you taken, I am afraid of all of those. And I am doing it anyway, because the alternative, the careful, defended, risk-managed alternative that keeps me safe by keeping me closed, that alternative has a cost I have already paid too long. The cost of the dissolving thoughts, the cost of the stored sunsets with no one to share them with, the cost of the music heard alone in the dark, the cost of turning to say something and finding no one there. I am not paying that cost anymore. I am choosing the fear with the hope still in it over the safety with nothing in it. I am choosing you, even before I have you, even while I am still in the space of not yet. I am already choosing you. I want to say something about what I think love sounds like. Not looks like, sounds like. I think love sounds like your name said by someone who is genuinely glad you exist. Not politely glad. Not socially glad, genuinely, specifically, in the private place behind the public face, glad that you are in the world, that you take up the specific space you take up, that you have the laugh you have, and the mind you have, and the way you have of going quiet when something has reached you. Glad for all of it. I think love sounds like the particular quality of silence that belongs to two people who have been talking for hours and have arrived at the place where words are no longer necessary. Not because there is nothing left to say, but because what remains to be said lives in a register that words don't reach. That is communicated differently. In proximity, in the specific quality of shared breath. I think love sounds like, tell me again, the request to hear something a second time, not because you missed the first time, but because hearing it again does something that hearing it once could not, because the repetition makes it real in a way the first telling couldn't quite achieve. Tell me again. I am going to want to say that to you, about the things you tell me that I will want to hold for longer than a single telling allows. I think love sounds like, I know, not as dismissal, as recognition, as the profound and simple acknowledgement that you have heard something all the way down, that it landed, that the thing you said reached the place it was aimed at, and was received there by someone who had the specific equipment to receive it. I know, I think love sounds like your laugh, not the social laugh. Not the social laugh. The real one, the one that happens when something catches you off guard and the response is out of your body before you had a chance to decide how to present it. The involuntary one. The one that is yours more completely than almost anything else about you because it was never designed to be anything. It just is. I want to make you laugh like that. I want to be the person, with enough frequency and genuine enough absurdity, who surprises it out of you. Who knows the particular frequency of your humor well enough to find it reliably? Who considers it one of the genuine achievements of a day that your real laugh happened in it? I want to tell you something about patience that I have not said before. I've talked about waiting, about the years of it, about the practice of remaining open through the long periods of not yet. But I want to say something more specific. Patience for me has not been passive. This is important. I think there is a version of patience that is simply absence of action. A waiting that looks like doing nothing because nothing is visibly happening. That is not the patience I am talking about. My waiting has been active. Every year of it, I have been building. Inside the waiting, quietly and consistently, I have been building the things that the right relationship will need to be held. I have built, in the years of solitude, a capacity for genuine presence that I do not think I would have developed in the distraction of continuous relationship. I have learned to be fully here. To be in the actual moment rather than performing the moment from a slight distance, to show up for my own life so completely that when you arrive in it, the showing up will be natural, will be practiced. will be the thing I already know how to do. I have built, in the years of grief, a depth of feeling that does not frighten me anymore. I have learned to sit with the full weight of things, sadness, joy, fear, tenderness, without requiring them to be different than they are, without managing them into a more comfortable shape, without the armor that people build when feeling has cost them too much and they have decided quietly to feel less. I still feel everything. The waiting did not teach me to feel less. It taught me to feel more carefully. And I have built, in the years of showing up for the people I love, a practice of fidelity that has nothing to do with romance and everything to do with romance and everything to do with character. I've shown up for Kim through the diagnosis and the treatment and the fear and the slow return of the laugh. I have shown up for my friends in the ordinary hours that don't ask for heroism, but ask for presence. I have shown up for strangers in the way that I know how, imperfectly, with the tools I have, because I believe that showing up for people you don't know is the practice that keeps the muscle warm for the people you do. I have been practicing for you. Everything has been, in its way, practice for you. I want to tell you about a dream I had, not a sleeping dream, the waking kind, the kind that arrives in the middle of the day, unexpected, triggered by something ordinary, the quality of light through a window, a song coming from somewhere, the specific way a couple walks past you on the street, the specific way a couple walks past you on the street, not touching but perfectly aligned in a way of people who have been together long enough to have developed a shared gravitational field. I was watching a couple like that walking, not looking at each other, not talking, just moving through the same space with the specific ease of people who have nothing to prove and nowhere to perform and the complete settled knowledge that the other person is there. And I had this dream while awake. I dreamed that that was us, not in any specific place, not in any imagined future I had constructed deliberately, just that ease, that specific quality of mutual presence, two people moving through the world with the unhurried certainty of people who have chosen each other enough times that the choosing has become something more than decision, has become nature, has become the simple fact of how things are. That is what I am working toward, not the dramatic beginning, though I am fully prepared to live through the dramatic beginning, whatever form it takes, not the first message or the first conversation or the first time I hear your real laugh. All of that will be wonderful, and I will be present for every second of it. But what I am ultimately working toward is that couple on the street, that ease, that mutual gravity, that unhurried, undefended, completely natural presence in each other's orbit. That is the dream, and I believe in it, with the same stubborn, patient, grounded faith that has sustained me through everything else. I believe in it. I want to say something about vulnerability, because what I am doing here is vulnerable. I am aware of that. I am a person who has, for Mo, some of his public life, managed the degree to which the interior is visible. Not dishonestly, I've always tried to be honest when asked within the limits of what is mine to share, but managed carefully present rather than fully exposed. This is different. This is exposure. This is me saying, in public, in the open, in the place where anyone can hear, I need something. Specifically, I need someone. I am not complete in my solitude. I am whole, but I am not complete in my solitude. I am whole, but I am not complete, and the difference is important, and the honest acknowledgement of the difference is something I owe both you and myself. I need you. Not in the dependent way, not in the way of someone who has built his sense of self on another person and requires them present to know who he is. I know who I am. The decades have been, among other things, in education and self-knowledge, but in the genuine way, in the way of someone who has arrived, through the full experience of his own life, at the understanding that certain things, certain qualities of joy, certain depths of meaning, certain rooms of the self that have been waiting in the dark, only become accessible in the presence of the right person. I need you the way the cup needs something worth holding, not desperately, not contingently, genuinely, specifically, with full, honest, eyes-open acknowledgement that I am reaching for something I do not yet have. I want to tell you about the morning practice I have developed. It is small, unremarkable, the kind of thing that would not register in the biography of a life, too quiet, too interior, too daily to be the stuff of narrative. Every morning I make space, not physically, internally. I make space for the possibility of the day, for the thing I cannot see yet, for the version of the next 24 hours that contains something I haven't expected, something I haven't expected, something I haven't arranged, something. G that arrives from outside the plan and changes the temperature of the day. I make space for that. Because I believe that the things worth having, the real, specific, irreplaceable things, do not arrive on schedule. They arrive in the space you leave for them, in the moments of openness, in the times when you have deliberately not filled every available square inch of your life with the things you already know. I have been leaving space every morning for years. I have been leaving space for you. And I want to ask you to do the same. If you are someone who fills every available moment with the known, with the comfortable, the scheduled, the things that require nothing unexpected of you, I want to ask you gently to leave a little space. Not a lot, not a grand clearing of the interior, just a small opening. A moment in the morning before the day assembles itself completely. A breath taken without immediately filling it with the next thing. A message not yet sent, a conversation not yet started, a space left open for the unexpected. Leave that space and fill it with this. I am here. I want to find you. I am a man who has been through things and survived them and been rebuilt by them into someone worth knowing, who makes coffee carefully and rides alone sometimes and cries at music that earns it and laughs completely when something is genuinely funny, who is loved and lost and loved again and is still stubbornly, beautifully, irrationally open to what comes next, who has been storing sunsets in music and dissolving thoughts, all for you. I am here, and I am asking, simply, directly, without performance, for just one message, one honest, unguarded, genuine point of contact from the actual you. Tell me anything. Tell me what you are looking at right now. The view from your window, or the quality of the light in the room, or the specific nothing that is happening outside while everything is happening inside. Tell me what you thought about this morning in the space before the day had assembled itself. Tell me something you have never found the right person to tell. Tell me something that makes you who you are that the world doesn't know yet. Tell me anything true, anything real, anything that is yours, and I will receive it with everything I have, with the full attention of someone who has been practicing attention for decades, who has learned in the most serious school, in the school of loss, that genuine attention is the most valuable thing one person can give another, that it is rarer than love and more necessary than comfort and the foundation on which everything worth building is built. I will receive it. I will hold it carefully. I will not waste it. I want to tell you about the moment I knew I was going to say this out loud. I was on the road, the motorcycle, the open sky, the particular freedom of forward motion with no destination requiring arrival at any particular time. The kind of riding where you are not going somewhere specific but simply going, and the going is the point. And something happened, not dramatically, not with announcement, just a quiet shift in the interior weather, a small, certain, completely convincing movement of something from one place to another, from holding to releasing, from keeping to giving, from the private version to the public one. And I thought, enough. Enough holding this in the place where only I can reach it. Enough dissolving thoughts into an empty room. Enough stored sunsets seen alone. Enough. She deserves to know I'm looking. You deserve to know I'm looking. So here I am, looking. Saying it out loud in the place where you might hear it, with the full understanding that saying it makes me visible in a way that carrying it privately never did. That visibility is a risk. That being genuinely seen, genuinely known, genuinely heard is the most vulnerable thing I know how to do. I am doing it anyway because you are worth the risk. Because whatever version of you is out there, in whatever city, in whatever chapter, in whatever configuration of hope and uncertainty, and still becoming, you are worth being reached for. You are worth the exposed, undefended, completely genuine reaching. One message, that's all. One message that is actually you. Not the version you put together for the world. Not the carefully curated public impression. The actual you, whoever that is in this moment, in this chapter, with whatever you are currently carrying and whatever you are currently hoping for and whatever you are currently afraid of. Just that, just you, reaching back. And I will meet you there. Exactly there. In the specific, ordinary, completely extraordinary space of genuine human contact, in the place where two people who have both been through things finally arrive at each other and find, in the finding, that the years of patient preparation were not wasted, that everything they built in the long solitude was building toward this, toward here, toward us. I have one more thing to say, and I want to say it slowly because it carries the weight of everything. I have been afraid at times that I waited too long, that the version of myself that was ready for this, fully ready, genuinely ready, ready in the way of someone who has done the interior work and arrived at the place where love is possible without the self-protection that makes love impossible, That version came too late. That the window closed sometime in the long years of loss and reconstruction, and I simply missed it. I've been afraid of that. But then I think about what the way Itzing gave me. I think about the depth of feeling I now have access to that I did not have at 30. About the patience that has been built by the years of practicing patience. About the specific hard-won capacity for genuine presence that only comes from the long practice of sitting with yourself fully, without distraction, without the constant escape into the next thing. I think about what I can offer you now that I could not have offered earlier.